we're going to be real, we got to be real. A win is a win, but that was an ugly win.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs help you find a qualified candidate you want to talk to faster. Post your jobs for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Now, I guess this got me in trouble before. By the way, I'm Keith Pompey, one of the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers. And I want to say 2 years ago, it's funny because 2 years ago, the Sixers go to Toronto. And they play a Toronto Raptors team that was extremely undermanned. I mean, they're bringing guys in off the They're bringing guys in off like from the G League team. I mean, it was crazy. It was they even had this. They signed guys to like 10-day contracts. It was a year with the COVID or whatever when they had things like that. No, it wasn't COVID. It was right afterwards. But anyway, they were signing these guys, and they had all these guys, like new guys, on the team who really haven't played before. And they gave the Sixers a run for their money. And then after the game, I say to Doc Rivers, were you pleased with that performance? And then it went viral where he said, a win is a win, yada, yada, da, da, da. And then it just went left, right? You could go on YouTube and you could see it. Well, last night to me was similar to that. Now, I get it. I know that Pat Bev didn't play. I know that DeAnthony Melton didn't play. I know that Mo Bamba didn't play, right? But Robert Covington wasn't there. But Robert Covington hasn't played since December 30th. DeAnthony Melton has also been out for a while. Mo Bamba doesn't always get his number called, right? So Pat Bev is sick. He didn't play. He doesn't start. Comes off the bench. Started one game, I believe, this year. They go up against a Charlotte Hornets team that was without its top two centers. The Sixers have Joel Embiid, not just the best center, arguably the best center in the game. He's the reigning MVP, right? LaMelo Ball, the best player on the Charlotte Hornets, didn't play. So Tyrese Maxey was there. In other words, they had a lot of guys. So the Sixers had the advantage just about in every position. But it was an ugly win. They basically needed heroics in the fourth quarter from Tobias Harris and Daniel House in order for them to escape with a 97-89 victory. At one point, they took the starters out thinking they had the game won, and they had to put them back in. All right. I mean, that's how bad it was, right? The crazy part was in the first half. Joel Embiid had 14 shots. He shot 6 for 14. Tyrese Maxey was shooting 5 for 14. Embiid had 20. Maxey had 12. No other teammate had more than 2 shot attempts. And they were clinging to a 46-45 lead at that particular time. Now, I thought it was bad, y'all. Now, again, I get it. A win is a win. The Sixers improved to 20, 28-13. They're on a 5-game winning streak. All is good. I get that they were playing on a back-to-back where they went from Orlando to Charlotte. But I also realized that the Hornets were on a back-to-back too. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Hornets have lost 18 of their last 20 games. The Hornets are one of the worst teams in the league. They threw out a starting lineup of Cody Martin, Miles Bridges, P.J. Washington, Brandon Miller, and Terry Rozier as their starting lineup. Right? The Sixers had a starting lineup of Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, and Nick Batum. All right? So there was no excuse for that performance. And I think the Sixers got to get better. And it sounds crazy to say that because they've been playing well. But to me, that game had as much to do with hero ball than anything. And what I mean by hero ball is the Sixers knew that the Charlotte Hornets had no one on that team that could stop them. They knew that this was going to be one of those boat race games, at least it was supposed to be. I didn't see any ball movement. I saw Joel shooting the ball. I saw Maxey shooting the ball. I saw a lot of other guys standing around watching. It to me, and what I mean by that is, this to me, in my opinion, this was supposed to be the game where they say, look, we're going to get ours. We're going to get ours. We ain't going to play team ball. We're going to get ours. We're going to get our points, and we're going to sit down, laugh, relax, and all this and that. It was easy. I mean, how else do you explain Embiid getting 14 shots, Maxey getting 14 shots, and no one else on the team having more than 2 in the first half, right? Now, again, I get it. The stars are going to be stars. They both, they're the top scoring duo in the league. Heading into that game, they were averaging 61 points a game. That's, combining the average that 61.3, which was number 1 in the NBA. I get it. But this isn't the first time that they played a Bobo team where they were supposed to blow them out and there was no ball movement. Guys were going for self. And they just can't continue to do that. Because I'm here to tell you, they probably would have played better or had better movement, a better plan if they were playing a more competitive team. All right, let's face it. They would have. But if they play that way against a more competitive team, that would have been a loss. It would have been an embarrassing loss for the Sixers, right? Now, one thing I will say is they got better in the second half. The fourth quarter, they opened up the fourth quarter with a 13-2 run. Tobias Harris had 6 of those points, which gave him a little bit of a cushion. Now, they also benefited from poor shooting. Poor shooting by Charlotte in that fourth quarter. It was kind of like Charlotte forgot how to play, and Charlotte turned the ball over a lot. And you could look at it and say, you know what, the Sixers had something to do with it. But it was crazy. Like Charlotte had 17 turnovers total. In that fourth quarter, the Hornets turned the ball over 9 times, right? So they had 17 total, and they turned the ball over 9 times. In that fourth quarter, the Hornets shot 31.2%. They made 5 of 16 shots. From 3, they were 2 of 7 for 28.6%. They made 4 of 6 free throws, 66.7%. Now you go ahead and you turn it over, and you look at what the Sixers did. The Sixers were struggling mightily shooting the ball through 3 quarters. Through 3 quarters, the Sixers was only shooting 38.5% from the field, and 15% from three. They were 3 of 20. They were 16 of 20 from the foul line, shooting 80%. In that fourth quarter, with the game on the line, the Sixers shot 55% from the field, 11 for 20. They shot 40% on threes. They made 2 of 5, and they made all 4 of their foul shots. They had 4 turnovers, comparable to the 9 by Charlotte, and they finished the game with 10 turnovers, right? So, it looks like it was a little bit even. They might have had, it was a little bit even before that, and then everything worked out. Everything worked out for them. They were lucky. I'm telling you, if this would have been another team, they probably would have lost. A healthy team. They were lucky. But to me, this is something that can be corrected. It's all about playing the way you're supposed to play, because I feel like they didn't do that. Honestly, I do. I feel like they didn't do that. I honestly do. I want to talk to y'all about LinkedIn. At the start of the new year, every small business owner is asking themselves the same question. What's the one move I can make that I'll take my business to the next level in 2024? LinkedIn Jobs knows that your success all depends on the team you surround yourself with. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has created a tool to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and free, right? LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get qualified candidates within 24 hours. That's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs and delivery quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn also knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is quick and easy. So this is what I want y'all to do. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba to post your jobs for free. Terms and conditions apply. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So we talked about Tobias, and I keep talking about Tobias a lot lately. Tobias played well, right? He played well. He kind of saved the day, right? He did what he was supposed to do. I do think that Tobias can remain as a third star here. It's going to be interesting because when you look at it, a lot of the top free agent guys, and what I mean by that is like Pascal Siakam, you expect him to re-sign with Indiana. You never know what's going to happen, but you expect it. And the reason why I say you never know is because when Jimmy Butler came here, there was a thought that he was going to re-sign with the Sixers, right? That was a thought, at least initially. And then it didn't go well, and, he wanted out, and it was just a lot, right? So you don't know what's going to happen over the course of the season, but you assume that Pascal is going to resign with Indiana. You assume that OG is going to resign with the New York Knicks, right? Kawhi Leonard has an extension with the Clippers, and then you wonder what Paul George is going to do, right? You assume that Paul George is going to stay there. So with that being said, there's not like a lot of guys out there, and Tobias will probably be one of the top free agents out there, right? The question is, if the Sixers say they really like him, but the biggest thing is with Tobias isn't like him, is his contract. I mean, he's making $39 million this season. Do you see the Sixers paying him that money? I don't. But do I see them maybe saying, hey, we want you back for less? I can see that happening. And the way that he's playing, I mean, if they can come to a figure that they both agree upon, the way that he's playing, I think that will be good moving forward. I feel like there's a lot of question marks right now, right, with people. And let's face it, playing if you want to be I think playing with Joel Embiid, if you are a quote unquote A-list player, can be tough. It can be tough. And I don't mean that to throw shade at Joel. I don't mean to throw shade at other players. But what it is the reality is that he is a scorer. The offense runs through him. Typically, A-list players are used to stuff running through them, and it runs through perimeter players, and then the big gets the leftover. Well, here is about Joel. Joel's the first option, second option, whatever, right? I mean, it's him. So if you go out there and you get a guy, let's just say if you get a Paul George, or let's just say if you get a Kawhi, let's just say if you get like a Pascal Siakam, all these guys, I'm just naming dudes, Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan. How are they going to deal with being second or third fiddle? I mean, that's the thing you got to realize. Like, these guys are used to being either number one or number two, wherever they were. You know what I mean? And now you're going to slide down. So how are you going to feel used to that? I mean, and let's face it, Joel's the league's leading scorer. This is the third year running. I mean, if he plays enough game, he'll be the MVP. So you got a guy like Tobias who's played for him. This is what, 5+ seasons. So he has an idea of what it's like. He knows how to mesh in. He's playing his best basketball right now as a 76er. So, yeah, I feel like he would be a good fit to retain if they can come back and agree on a salary. I don't think here in Philadelphia he'll break the bank. I mean, there may be a couple teams that's going to pay him the money that he wants to make. But I also think that those are going to be situations where those teams are going to be a year away type of situation. And then they may even end up trading them. You know how that goes. So, it is what it is, and we'll figure some things out. But I'm just throwing that out there because I do believe that Tobias has really been balling. I do. Been balling big time. And I think the Sixers would be good, depending on what's out there. If they can get him for a bargain, would be better suited bringing him back. I do, if they can get something for him, right? I really do. I really do. Let me talk to y'all about BetterHelp. This show / episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The thing about BetterHelp, the thing I like about BetterHelp is, around New Year's, we get obsessed with how to change ourselves instead of just expanding on what we're already doing right. Maybe you finally organized one part of your space and you want to tackle another. Or maybe you're taking your supplements every morning and now you want to actually eat breakfast too. Therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. tell you, man, I got to do a better job of my resolutions. I really do. So I'm when I get done this podcast, you know who I'm reaching out to. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited for your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Celebrate the progress you already made. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. Do it today, people. Definitely do it today. Now, Mitch and I talked about DeJounte Murray. And there was a point where I was like, nah, Mitch, I'm looking at that situation in Atlanta. I'm looking at all the draft picks they gave up for him and seeing how it didn't work out. And, I started talking to more people around the league, and they were like, look, Keith, there were some people within the organization that didn't want to make the move, right? About Atlanta. Like, they realized that they weren't going to be a good fit. So when you look at it, they say you look at it as through a fit. Is he a better fit with Maxey than Trae Young? I said, yeah, I think so. Yeah. And then the more I looked at it after I got off the phone, I started researching some stuff. And it's true. He's just not a good fit in Atlanta. And there are 8 teams who are interested in him. The Knicks, the Nets, the Lakers, the Sixers are among those squads. Miami, Lord knows Miami's looking for another point guard too. They're throwing in mix. So the thing is, when you look at him, you say to yourself, like, you know what? I think having him could move Maxey off the ball. And if you don't allow yourself to get tricked, Maxey has been playing a lot off the ball lately. Right? It's one of those things where they give the ball to Tobias, they give it to D-Mel, and then Pat Bev comes in and he's running the show a little bit, right? So Maxey is going to his 2-guard spot. Don't get me wrong, he gets some little bit of dimes and he does stuff like that, but at the same time, he's more so in attack mode, focusing about scoring than he is trying to get people involved, which is good for the 76ers, right? So I feel like if you have that, if you have Murray doing that and moving Maxey off the ball, it makes him a little bit more lethal. Not only that, he's 6'4" with a 6'10" wingspan. A couple years ago, he led the league, the NBA, in steals. A couple years before that, he was a second-team all-defensive player. With his length and all that, and you put like Tobias out there long. You have Kelly Oubre long. You have Nico Batum long. You have all these guys that you have him in the mix. Even down DeAnthony Melton is long. Like he's 6'2" or something like that, 6'3" with a 6'9" wingspan, right? So this guy, Murray, has a 6'10" wingspan. So I like that length. I also like the fact that you can bring Melton off the bench. So now you got a deeper rotation. The question, though, is, are the Sixers willing to give up 2 firsts for him? Because it seems like that's what they want. Atlanta appears to want 2 first-round picks. And then secondly, Atlanta also wants a valued player in return. Now, what the Sixers have is they have a lot of guys who are on expiring contracts who can become free agents next year. Some of them are a little bit older. They're not going to – they may or they may not break the bank. But then for the young talent is a guy like Jaden Springer is under contract who they can trade KJ Martin has an expiring deal. But I don't know if those are two guys that Atlanta will want, especially when a team like New York, you hear Spencer Dinwiddie's name floating around from New York as a guy who could possibly go in that deal if New York has him. Go to Atlanta. So you can't win that one. Then D'Angelo Russell's name popped up in another thing that I saw. So for the Lakers. So when you look at Jaden Springer and KJ McDaniels, no offense to them, but you would rather have Dinwiddie, you would rather have Russell. That's just how it is, right? So I don't know if the Sixers have enough. But I'm telling you, this is a guy that is starting to intrigue me a little more. At first, I was down on it. But, the last look at Friday night. Trae Young didn't play, and this guy was balling. So I really like it. People in Atlanta could call him the black hole, though. Talking about Murray, they call him the black hole, but I think he's a quality player. I do. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Look, it's me, Keith Pompey, flying solo today. I want to thank y'all for listening. I want to thank y'all for everything. Have a blessed Sunday. Enjoy this day. And I'll be back tomorrow with my man, John Mitch, to talk about the Sixers. They got Wembanyama's in town. So let's talk about that one. Peace.